Alrighty, we're back. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. And welcome back everybody to more solo character challenge run with the Gladiator session 3 because, well, let's get some music going. Because yesterday, unfortunately, my monitor decided that it is briefly not going to exist anymore, and thus my laptop just kind of disabled everything and shoveled everything around, and the short version is both BizHawk and OBS crashed, which is why there's such weird cut in the previous, well, highlight/episode. And unfortunately it also meant that my entire progress got reset back to, well, the beginning of yesterday's stream. So I had to redo everything. As a result, it's going to be slightly different. I actually used up 2 less elixirs during the replay. The thing is, I ended up just kind of using them up anyway, so we only have 2 remaining, so I don't have too many. However, I did not bother farming the Bow of Darkness anymore, because very soon I can just buy one, and I figured that would be easier. Also, I did do the grind to level 31 before Soul Cannon. That's kind of why I saved a bunch of elixirs as well as high potions on Soul Cannon. Beyond that, the only other thing I did is, in order to speed up the grind, I actually used Emulator Speed Up, as well as I had the 2 other characters briefly alive during the Puroboros fight, just so it's not gonna take as long for me to redo and get back here. And, well, I'm back here now. In fact, I just only recently completed this, and we're starting the stream early today, because tomorrow is Bravely Default 2 that I would like to play. So the plan is to beat the entire game today. I might be a bit ambitious, but we'll see. Also, my theory as to why my monitor did such a weird thing is because I have a HDMI matrix switch, and it might be that the switch actually ended up going into sleep mode. That is kind of connected to it, and when the Switch gets activated, or the Super Nintendo Switch gets activated, the HDMI matrix will give them priority over my default monitor for the PC. So it's possible that there was kind of some weirdness there, and as to why that happened. Oh well, and the irony is that the reason why the Switch was active in the first place is because I was downloading Bravely Default 2. Alright, we are back. Alrighty, as usual in this encounter here, we need to defeat these first 3 enemies, and they could, well, if we're lucky, drop us some high potions. Beyond that, I think I'm aside from the Bow of Darkness, I should be mostly back at where I was. I might have slightly more experience, or slightly less, I don't really know. Nerf Gilgamesh. Wow, 2 high potions? Really? Alright, sure. I actually threw away 4 of them, so I wouldn't have them too early, but apparently the game decided, you know what, just have them. That's nice of you, game. Alrighty. Kind of like before, the setup should be largely the same. I have an Elemental for physical evasion, Gold Shield for physical evasion, Plumed Hat for magic defense and evasion, Ninja Suit for a slightly bit of speed, and the Ancient Sword to inflict the old status in Gilgamesh. Welcome everybody! This is Gilgamesh. He has 6500 HP. After you deal 4000 damage to him, he goes into phase 2. But he is vulnerable to a variety of status effects, among other things. I can try and inflict all onto him. And as I've mentioned before, unlike the Super Nintendo version, holding an enemy means that they also lose a tremendous amount of their physical attack power, if the old sword ever procs, that is. Either way, it is really good in the Game Boy Advance version. It's not that amazing in the Super Nintendo version, although it still has its uses, because it does slow down the enemies. There we go. Now Gilgamesh is older, which means he is going to gradually lose more and more of his physical attack power, which means I can just take my time and heal up by a regular potion. It takes a while, but he basically is gonna do no damage anymore in no time. The only danger for him at this point is going to be in phase 2, where I will only be able to deal half the damage to him in the end, because he gives himself shell and armor. Well, actually, the exception to this would be the finisher move. The finisher move with the elemental attack would actually just straight up one-shot him. But as I've mentioned before, if there is a more interesting way of possibly defeating the bosses or exploiting their weakness rather than just straight up using an overpowered move to kill them, I'd like to try and do that. Then again, if there's not any more interesting way, well, I'm just gonna use the finisher move. Because it is, after all, the Gladiator's strength to be able to just deal a ridiculous amount of damage like that. Alrighty. Now, I'm going to switch over to... I forgot the timer. Good job. That's fine, it's not that accurate right now anyways. I'm gonna switch over to... the Death Sickle, because he's actually also not immune to instant death attacks. I think they tried to proc there, but he resisted it. Oh, same again. Alrighty. Either way, largely he shouldn't be that dangerous as long as I'm careful, even if he is going to go into phase 2 here. And eventually I might just defeat him straight up with damage instead. So, am I going to avoid using finisher or will I use it? I will use it. As I said, the basic gist of it is, I'm going to use finisher if there's not really an interesting way to defeat the boss or enemy with the current toolset they have, or they might just be really dangerous. Kinda like this guy here. I would say that does kind of constitute as being really dangerous in my book. I'll just use the high potions here. Let's see whether the high potions are gonna be sufficient to keep me alive. He does not always jump, but because of haste, he's actually gonna be a fair bit faster than he was before. Despite having 1 speed, haste just makes him go faster than me anyway. I wonder whether he actually is vulnerable to instant death in this. I'm really not sure. I'm gonna wait until he does his jump or attack. He doesn't jump, so I'm gonna heal. I just didn't want to get jumped on twice in a row, because that would be rather deadly. Also, in case you're wondering, this is my strongest weapon that I have in order to attack him. So... yeah. Thank you for the good luck, everybody, and I'm quite fine, thank you. I hope so are you, everybody. Alrighty, I thought he was vulnerable to instant death, but that might actually be wrong, I guess? Unless I'm just that unlucky. Then again, he has shelled right now, so the chance to hit Doom is kind of halved anyways. Ooh, he is actually gonna get 2 turns here. He might knock me out again. Yep, he does knock me out again. Wow, alright. Gilgamesh not joking around. That's alright. We get some more good music the longer we stick around here. Hello, and welcome to you. Just tell me if it's good or not. That's gonna be fine, Shifu. Just in case you have a question and I may not answer it, I likely didn't see the thing because I tend to focus quite a bit on the game. Also, as a heads up, I actually really enjoy how imbalanced certain things are in the game, so I'm not entirely sure my opinion would be what you're looking for, but feel free to ask anyways if you'd like to. Alright. I think the strategy doesn't really change. I just keep doing the same thing. Just try to ult him and then try to doom him. Technically I could just throw an elixir at him so he doesn't go into phase 2, so he would stay pretty, well, tame really. And in fact, technically it might even be beneficial for me to disable the long reach ability. since I don't want to do damage to him, I just want to knock him out with Doom. Which is quite fascinating that it didn't work so far. It has a 1 in 3 chance to proc with the Death Sickle whenever I hit him. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure whether it just doesn't work in the Game Advance version, or whether I'm doing something else wrong. Probably nothing I'm doing wrong, it's just like chance, I suppose. I guess I should be healing up here. Oh, I didn't get the 2 high potions this time. That's unfortunate. Didn't even think about that. I should have run back and saved. Well, if you have any ideas and can just test it out, that would be interesting. One thing that always comes to the forefront of my mind when it comes to rebalancing jobs is Geomancer. If you gave a Geomancer the ability to choose which terrain spell they would use, rather than that being completely random, that would actually just largely solve their problems. Maybe attach an MP cost to it, and it's like a, I don't know, 300 ability point ability that they unlock in the end. Maybe not that late, but I feel like they would become suddenly very, very useful in a team game. A common balance idea is to give red mages level 4 magic. I've never really thought about red mages. I actually do like where they are. Red mages, they are really strong in the early game in my opinion. And I use a red mage for its utility, really. Then again, in a casual playthrough where it's not like a Forge of Fiesta, you might not be as incentivized to actually use them, I suppose. I'm just usually thinking in terms of Forge of Fiesta, which isn't quite normal casual play, I suppose. The fact that I have X-Magic is a decent balancer. Yeah, the thing is, X-Magic comes in so late. I think I've only ever decided to grind out X-Magic once in all the playthroughs I did, because it just takes way too long. And then even then, it's just for the final boss, basically. Except maybe for the solo one? I think the solo red mage might have gotten it. I'm actually not even sure about that. Yeah. I mean, it is really, really powerful in conjunction with other magics to be able to just cast 2 spells. Like, that's... If you try to consider it on that scale, it is a fair cost to an extent. Yeah, it is fairly usable in a like common playthrough, I would think. I don't know. I do like red mages overall, but yeah. Alright, let's actually go here. I didn't keep track of Gilgamesh health. Maybe I should have. I'm just hoping that I get the Doom proc before too long. Let's see he's immune to it. Thought he wasn't. Enough keeps telling me more that he might be immune to it. Alright, that was a really good hit to push him into phase 2, so it might be fine. Oh, I'm wrong. I'm thinking of Gilgamesh 1 that is vulnerable to... Really? It just Koopa stops me. That's amazing in all the wrong ways. Wow. Okay. Alright, but my spreadsheet actually confirms I'm wrong. Turns out Gilgamesh is not vulnerable to instant death. Finisher time? Maybe. I would like to try like 2 or 3 more times. I do think this is an interesting challenge because we can get to ult him. So, well, even if, well, I don't know. Maybe. I'm gonna try at least once more. The Gladiator definitely does have an easier time. Ooh, high potion. I'm gonna go back and save that. The Gladiator definitely has an easier time defeating Gilgamesh than most other classes. Thanks to long range and ult, and... well, maybe not as easy as Ignite actually in this regard if I don't use the finisher. Oh, it is definitely possible. Just not entirely sure how reasonable it is. It definitely is going to make it easier if I actually keep track of how much damage I deal to Gilgamesh in the first place, though. Rather than just trying to wing it. I was just hoping for the Doom proc, but it turns out there is no Doom proc on Gilgamesh. Like, that literally just doesn't exist, because he's immune to instant death. For some reason, so I'm pretty sure I was thinking of the first Gilgamesh in Gallop Basement, that is not immune to instant death, but this guy is. Alright, more physical defense with the Mutter Helm. Let's actually get the gold armor as well. Lose a little bit of speed, but more defense. Like, make me survive the jump more efficiently, maybe? Either way, the Ancient Sword is effectively as good as it gets for straight up raw damage output, and also reasonably reliable damage output as opposed to the Death Sickle. So, I guess we're gonna just stick to the old sword here. And immediately ult it. Very nice. The janky level up stats. I'm not entirely sure what you might be referring to. Probably when I heal soon. One more attack I can get, then he would be close to pushing him onto the next phase. So I'm gonna start healing here. In case you're wondering, in the Super Nintendo version you can actually use the Mage Masher in order to silence him during the phase transition. This does not work in the Game Boy Advance version. He will be able to cast Haste Shell and Armor anyways, despite that. So we have dealt 3270 damage so far. Turns out Gilgamesh is much more of a menace than I anticipated it would be. Which is fair, he is supposed to be quite the, well, powerful warrior. I'm actually considering trying to hit him with the Death Signal, hoping that he doesn't quite go into phase 2, and so I can get a really huge swing into phase 2. Or I could just stick to the Ancient Sword. I'm just gonna stick to the Ancient Sword, 435. He's 295 HP away from getting pushed into phase 2. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna wait until he moves, then attack. That way I actually avoid getting triple Goomba stomped. And we need to deal 1800 damage at this point. He'll toss into late game. But why? As I said, I am kind of a big fan of imbalanced abilities, and it's also kind of expensive to be fair. But it is definitely ridiculous for the early game. Alright. I still have enough HP. Should I wait until... Yeah, I'm gonna wait until he moves. Yeah, then we can go. 200 damage to the end, so that's 9 total attack after phase 2. I can attack again before he goes twice. Ooh, I might not be able to go twice. I think he's gonna go again. Please don't jump. Maybe. Let's heal. Alright, we are fine. Okay, he's gonna go twice here. Electrocute is fine. So I get a turn, then he gets a turn again. This is alright. 5 attacks remain. Maybe 4 if I get high rolls. I don't think I will get that high roll. Alright. Jump again. Alright, and now is where I need to start being careful so I don't get jumped twice. Okay, we're still fine. Here's where I need to wait until he moves. If he jumps, I have to heal. Doesn't jump, I can attack. 2 more attacks if I'm lucky. Actually, no, I'm not. Yeah, it's gonna be real tight. Alright, we have to heal here. No question about it. Ooh, another jump. Okay, I need to wait until he moves. Okay, we can attack. Yeah, I need 2 more attacks. He has 256 HP remaining. So 29 HP remaining. Okay, we should win as long as we don't miss. We didn't miss. Wait. Oh no! Oh, I'm a doofus. He has 6,500 HP. I was only counted up to 6,000. Oopsie. He has 60 HP remaining right now. As long as we don't miss, we should win. But he might just Goomba stomp me here. I'm gonna equip the mangoes for a higher chance to hit here. There we go. Mangoes reduces enemy evasion by half, or any dagger does really. So because he has some evasion, I figured it was more reasonable to try and just dagger him. Alright, we got him. Walking in this pattern allows me to circumnavigate all the random encounters, which are not that random after all. Just the bridge encounters, I guess. This way. Welcome to you. But please don't put frogs in the food box. Frogs are friends, not food. Is there a class you would, without a second thought, call overpowered / underpowered? The thing is, there is classes that I would call very strong if you know how to use them, like the Blue Mage and Chemist. But if you don't know how to use them, they are just fine. So basically the balance there is knowledge. And it can be fun to explore them. Like similarly with a samurai, if you just guild tosses willy-nilly, you're gonna lose a lot of money very quickly, and you won't have the money to throw stuff anymore. So it's more of a case where you could just get by certain bosses very quickly with the samurai. If you really just don't find another way of defeating the bosses, it might be an easy solution. And also, even though it's expensive and you definitely don't want to do it every time, it basically just kind of avoids frustration in that regard as well. Because, well, you have some way of getting past them. Then again, if you are like me, who is like, well, why don't I just use that on every available boss where I have reasonable amount of money? Because that's just the efficient thing to do, then that also might not be that great, I suppose. Also, we finally managed to buy high potions. Hooray! And 76 high potions. We actually have a decent amount of way to heal in the game. What's a rabbi's favorite thing of food? Well, they eat anything, really. I don't know whether they have a favorite. So, underpowered. Well, I mean, there's the case of not necessarily underpowered, but Dragoon just doesn't have any real synergy with other classes. With one obscure exception, with the Dancer. Also, I suppose the double ones, but yeah. It's just more of a case that Dragoon is quite fine by itself. It just doesn't really fit into a team, so to speak. And normally most people play this with, well, 4 characters rather than just one. What else? Let me just see real quick. Geomancer is definitely the one I would call the most underpowered. It does have its very specific uses, even in casual play, but it's specific. If you would give Geomancer the ability to choose which terrain ability to go for, then that would be just kind of enhancing it a lot. Also, the bells as a weapons are great. The main problem is there's no bell that has really high damage output, so they are largely unused as a weapon type. As in, bells have ridiculously good damage scaling, with scaling full power through magic power as well as agility, which is really crazy good in a lot of cases. The main problem is just there's just no bell that has particularly high attack power, and thus any enemy that has a solid amount of defense is just gonna nullify the damage of bells, with the exception of the rune bell. What else? Dancer. I think Dancer is fine. Honestly, I feel like most of the characters are fine. Like, I wouldn't necessarily know what to balance, in a sense. Berserker, maybe... I don't know. Berserker could use something that allows them to be not as slow. But that's more of a technical issue, where I think they basically lose their first turn because they start berserking at the first turn and then the second turn they start attacking or something like that. It's weird. Berserkers are weird. Thief is poor overall. Now that's the thing. A Thief is a team-based class. Thief is really good in utility. It's just not a combat class. Thief, being able to steal from various enemies has incredibly high value, and can get you a number of equipment pieces very early on that you would not get until way later. And the Thief even in combat, is actually kind of a supportive class, because you can throw items at a really high speed thanks to, well, their high agility. They just don't deal a whole lot of damage until you get to World 2, where they can get the double lance for the first time. Yeah, I'd actually have no idea how you would adjust Berserkers. Honestly, my only suggestion of adjusting anything at all is just Geomancer. Give the Geomancer, like, a spell list where they can choose from the current terrain, preferably it costing actually MP, so they're actually, like, using their MP stat too. So they actually can choose what to use. Maybe limit it based on their current top level or level directly, which, like, terrain spells they can choose. Something like that would be my suggestion. Like some spell lists that they only unlock a little bit later or so. Because initially it's fine to just use random abilities. They are actually decently strong in the early stages. But it starts getting really weak around World 2. Alrighty, welcome to this guy. This enemy here likes to counterattack with a revenge attack which deals damage equivalent to however much HP you're missing. Now the thing is, he's undead and not flagged as heavy, which means a Phoenix Stone can instantly kill him. So we don't really have any trouble with him. I mean, that's a different route to take, that Pressure suggests. If you make Geomancer more like Mog in Final Fantasy VI, then you can choose which terrain you want to try and summon spells from. But it would still be random. Berserkers actually do have bonus damage from being Berserk. They have 50% more attack power, which, it actually scaling on attack power rather than attack multiplier, does make a decent amount of difference because they pierce defense much better than other characters. Like, the easiest example to bring up is the Wing Raptor in the very first Wind Shrine. Normally your weapons don't have enough attack damage to, well, punch through his defense when he is closing its wings. But a Berserker, in fact, does have enough damage thanks to being Berserked. And as I said, I feel like I just like the imbalance of a lot of classes. But I do play this game mostly as a challenge run, either through solo challenges or Forza Fiesta, so again, I might not be the best person to ask for these kinds of things, but I can always try to give you feedback. We'll go. Super. We'll go. I like moguls. Those moguls are so chubby, this game. Super hard? Now that's an interesting portion actually. In my book, it's really difficult to make something an enjoyable kind of, well, difficult in a game. Because I'm not a big fan. Let's make probably the easiest example. The Seeker of Mana hard mode pack. I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's fine. It's just not the kind of difficulty increase that I enjoy. For the most part. It does have its interesting aspects though. But if you just make... So here's the thing. People who may be less experienced about, like, game design, I don't know what your experience is, honestly, the tendency tends to be towards making it really tedious rather than difficult in an interesting way. Googles are so good, yeah. the thing is, the tedium or the high stat change can be interesting, and some people might even enjoy that. But that's just not something that I necessarily like. Welcome to you, Mr. Kawaii. Hope you have a nice day today. The monster wearing a skinned Moogle suit. No. That is a suit for visitors, so they can feel included when they visit the Moogle village. That is specifically for me to be equipping. Can edit the heavy element of mobs? Yeah. The thing is, there's a lot of abilities that take advantage of when enemies or bosses are not heavy. So if you remove those from bosses, suddenly they become incredibly vulnerable to a lot of abilities. Like, to give a few examples, there's the Condemn clock, or the Doom clock that I call it. That targets an enemy's heaviness or not heaviness. There is Odin, that instantly kills anything that is not heavy. The Time Magic insta-kill is targeting an enemy heavy or not. The Time Magic, well, Demi and Quarter spells target an enemy's heaviness. What else? Oh yeah, the Oracle's main abilities. They target whether an enemy is heavy or not. A Berserker having a chance to control the rage and choose the action when it comes up would be neat. I'm not entirely sure how you would manage that though. You think a Beastmaster control could target the Berserker, and then you could direct the Berserker's rage to a specific target? That would be kind of fun. But it would be very specific and kind of slow to set up. I think the Berserker should just be a normal combat class, with its class ability being a thing that calls Berserk on itself and attacks in one action. You know, that I think that actually would be very interesting, Xcoats. That would make the Berserker probably a lot more usable in... Yeah, I actually like that suggestion. It would be much less of a meme, which... Oh, no, I like the meme a little. but it will make it a lot more usable. It might be too good. I mean, you wouldn't usually berserk your own characters even if you could in most circumstances. But being able to like do stuff with the berserker and not lose the attack, I think could be really, really good. I like the idea overall, honestly. I think it's kind of neat. So I'm actually gonna take a quick detour here, because in the moat of this castle there is a great sword that is, well, just a regular sword. It's not a knight-based sword. But that sword has really solid attack power. It doesn't do anything else aside from, well, hit hard. But that's what it does, it hits pretty hard. And it might be worthwhile to pick it up just for that. Hello, I'd like to go outside. Alrighty, so we also have a new weapon, the Dancing Dagger. The Dancing Dagger has pretty good attack power overall. The main upside and downside simultaneously is, however, that half the time when you attack with a Dancing Dagger, it chooses a dance move. A dance move is effectively one of 4 possible outcomes. It can confuse an enemy, and the nice thing about that confusion is the enemy, as long as they're susceptible to it, they cannot resist being confused. And that's a tempting tango. Then there's the Mystery Waltz, which absorbs MP from the enemy. There's the Jitterbug Duet, which absorbs HP from the enemy. And the Sword Dance, which is usually the most desirable one, deals 4 times damage and never misses. It's only a 1 in 8 chance to actually get the Sword Dance every time I attack, so how convenient of a showcase, thank you, but that's great. Oh wow, okay, so normally those cursed beings in this section of the game are kind of annoying, because if they get a turn, and they are very fast as an enemy, if they get a turn, they will revive one of your fallen allies as a zombie. So you have to remove the zombie status and then kill them off again. It's a bit annoying for solo character challenge runs, but turns out gladiators are faster than them, so we can run away before that happens. So that's really nice. How many is a gaggle? At least 7. Probably. It's a grime land. Grimes are always happy, even when being eaten. Well, maybe not fully devoured, but they can give you some grape jelly juice, or whatever you want to call it. Because of course, Grimes are made of grapes. Or grape juice. That makes sense. Pew, 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 pew. Grimes are friends, not food. Yep, that too. Alrighty, welcome to Kelp Village, where we actually get a new set of equipment pieces that we will be able to use here. Largely, well, armor types for now. Also, I'm gonna finally start selling stuff that I don't need anymore. So let's see. I will have use for ethers, I'm actually gonna keep those. Sell the mithrilize, sell the longsword, sell the broadsword. Sell the green beret. Kenpoji I ended up never using. Sell the frost bows, I guess. Is there any ice-based weakness that I want to exploit? I can't really think of anything. It'll be fine. Fill glossy cells, silver specs. Flame bow. I will soon enough get a fire knight sword, so I think that's gonna be alright. Mithril shield we don't need anymore. Never had any use for the shurikens. Don't need a dagger anymore. Power armlet, I'm pretty sure unfortunately we cannot equip that. What else? Alright, that's fine for now. Okay. Ooh, we cannot equip the twist headband. That would be +3 strength. Turns out, cannot equip that. Or we can equip the power sash, which is also +3 strength. So at least that's something. Not as much physical defense as the gold armor, but also significantly less heavy. And 3 strength is gonna make a huge difference overall, so definitely wanna get that one. Anything else? I could equip a gold helmet. Then again, well, I guess I'm using a mithril helmet right now, so might as well just upgrade to a gold helmet. So it's just more defense. I think that's quite alright. Not much more, but hey, that's alright. Alright, any interesting button? We could... oh yeah, we can get a killer bow. I forgot about this. Also, the darkness bow is in the previous section. I need to not forget to buy one. The killer bow is kind of like the Doom Axe, except it's a bow. And the chance to hit is a lot more nebulous. I think it is still subject to enemy magic evasion, but that's about it. Also, sleep blade. We can put enemies to sleep with this. It's great. We can also equip a wind spear. The thing is, there's not really any enemies I want to fight that are weak to wind. Oh, there's the dark bow. I want that. But yeah, the only enemy I can immediately think of that I would want to use the wind spear against would be the metamorpha enemies, but as a gladiator I don't really have any reason to fight them. Plus, I can deal wind-based damage with the finisher. Yeah. Alright. I think this is sufficient equipment, and let's go. I might just fight stuff along the way, maybe. I might wait until later, until I fight more stuff. It kind of really depends on what I'm encountering. It's just a single enemy that I can one-shot, might as well do it. Ow. Question mark Golem being mean today. Alright, I think I'm gonna run away from these ones here. It's an entire group of enemies, but if I find an individual, like zombie dragon, that might be interesting to fight. Fine, there's one. Oh, I didn't actually buy any Phoenix Stones. Well, I still have 5, this is fine. Alright, the zombie dragons are not flagged as heavy, and they're still undead, so you can often kill them very easily with a single Phoenix Stone. They drop us always a Dragon Fang, which is worth 2,500 gold, and they are good experience. Well, they would be good experience, unless they decide to resist the Phoenix Down 3 times, which is 4 times, very, very, very unlikely, actually. I don't know the probability. I think it's like 75% of success. But I just used up 5 Phoenix Downs for that one kill. So... definitely doesn't feel like it, but hey, that's just variance. That's a lot of misses. Yeah. Very unlikely to miss like more than twice. We missed 4 times. Alrighty, however, we are about to get a new armor that will be our best friend for a long time here. Welcome to the Bone Mail. I just bought the Power Sash because it's still gonna be useful, but the Bone Mail is a very, very special kind of equipment piece. It has ridiculously high physical defense, in fact it's the highest in the entire game, even better than the best heavy armor, and it's only considered to be medium armor. So, what's the catch? The catch is you're immune to all status effect, blindness, poison, darkness, and nothing else. Oh yeah, berserk and confusion. But no, really, what's the downside? Well, you're undead in combat, which means you take double damage from fire, half damage from ice, and... well, instead of getting healed, you get damage from, well, healing spells and potions. So you want to be careful about using such items in combat, but it's such a ridiculously good armor for when you know exactly what you're doing, that it is absolutely worthwhile for me to use it overall. You're not really imagining things. The music is slightly different compared to the Super Nintendo version. But yes, I think what Murtha says is probably really accurate about it, so thank you for explaining that. Yeah, sometimes it sounds a bit off-key, but I'm not entirely sure whether that is because of me using this hawk or what the catch is. Either way, welcome to the next boss. So this next boss here, think about this. We keep the Bone Mail equipped. However, I want to not be as heavy, I guess. Unequip the gold shield. Still too much equipment weight. Ah, there we go. So this next boss here, how much damage I'm doing is pretty much completely irrelevant. No. How much defense I have is pretty much completely irrelevant. That's what I meant to say. How much damage the enemy does is fixed. Trying to say two things at once here. So, what this means is... we cannot heal in combat now. So I need to defeat this thing before it gets really dangerous. So I'm trying to inflict the aging status effect on the dragon pod here. So, this is basically an enemy that consists of 5 little flowers. And the main flower, all it does is it will just continuously spawn the little flowers over and over and over again. That's literally all it does. However, what the little flowers do is each one of them has a different status effect associated with it. And silver powder is aging status effect, so that would be incredibly bad for me to get hit by this. The darkness powder would be blind. The poison powder is, well, poison. Confused powder is, well, confusion, which would be really, really terrible. Except that, well, as you might be able to tell already, I'm immune to all except for that one thing in the bottom left. The flower I keep killing is the one that paralyzes enemies. Or, well, paralyzes me. So that's that. Also, these things have an attack that always hits. Guaranteed. There is no way of avoiding getting hit. The dragon pod is susceptible to instant death. I'm actually gonna use the killer bow here. For chance of instant death, but still decent damage. Now... basically, I'm on a timer here. My health is as much health as I have since I don't have a means of healing. Oh. Well, there's the instant death, because that thing has 12,000 HP. And I'm reasonably certain I didn't do 12,000 damage yet. So that worked out pretty well, I dare to say. And I also inflicted old status effect on it, so the level of the dragon pod continuously got lowered, so the chance of hitting the instant death was probably also slightly higher than before. So yeah, the main reason why I altered it is just kind of to slow it down, because it does reduce its speed to 1 eventually. So yeah, and we win. But yeah, there is another method of defeating Dragon Pod where you can still heal yourself, but benefit from the status immunities. That is quite simple. If I were to equip, like, another armor right now that is not the bone mail in the menu here, in the next one battle, I still have the immunities as if I were to have the bone mail equipped still. Basically, it's kind of carrying over the immunities and defense from the previous battle. Don't know why, that's just what it does. Also, I'm gonna go all in for physical defense, so I'm even equipping the Angel Ring here. But yeah, thanks to the Angel Ring, I'm largely immune. I didn't equip the Angel Ring. Thought I did. Either way, thanks to the bone mail, I'm immune against 4 of the 5 possible status effects right there, and that is largely going to be protecting me from anything that really could happen, honestly. Why not use Finisher? Because there was a more interesting way of handling the boss fight, so I decided to do it that way instead. Finisher I will be using in encounters where I just don't feel like there's any, well, more interesting way to handle it, or I just really need to defeat the boss quickly. It's gonna be 2 of those coming up with Atmos and XF, where I will be making very liberal use of the Finisher move. I have a plan for the crystals. I'm gonna get a flame shield. That's basically my entire plan. You don't need more than that. Well, maybe a few levels would be nice. I'm trying to fight stuff along the way, kind of. Yeah, pretty much the usual. I mean, I could one-shot all but the Wind Crystal with the finisher move, if I really wanted to. But then again, the problem is really the Wind Crystal itself. That's the one thing that's actually dangerous about it. Which is the silly thing about it, really. Another case where Ferris would be much better as a Gladiator. But yeah, the Zombie Dragon has so much HP that even with a critical hit, it's just not really worthwhile to stick around, so I'm just running. Unless I have a Phoenix Stone to spare. Which I do have one right now somewhere. It's just not really worth using anything on these things. Preempt this wreck. I'm actually curious whether Greatsword is good enough in order to knock these guys out here. Not quite, they have a bit more HP than that. Berserker is not Berserker anymore. Interesting. Good morning to you, Moonman. Welcome. How are you doing today? Actually, if you really dislike Giltos that much, Shubi, what I suggest to you, what you could do for Samurai, is make Giltos an unlockable ability, and give the Samurai something else instead. That way it would kind of balance itself out, but it would also allow people who really want to use the Giltos just unlock it anyways through a little bit of grinding. I think that would be a decent middle ground, just kind of thinking. Good morning to you, Cortan. I hope you're doing well. That's what you did. I see. 500? Oh dear. That's a lot. For an insta-win? It is not an insta-win later. By the time you get 500 ability points, you're pretty much in the end game. Well, at least with the pace I'm progressing. Keep in mind, for the Gladiator ability, I need a grand total, I think, of 700 it was. And I've done a fair bit of grinding because it's a solo character. And I'm now at about 400 at this point. I wouldn't even have reached 500 yet. Not that to say a solo character does grind a bit more than a party. Usually anyways. I don't know. It probably is all subject to change, but it's kind of my first instinct, I guess. Right, I need to talk to Kara first. I mean, I would guess that it's gonna be a lot of testing and probing anyways, until you have the correct ideas. But it's interesting that you're gonna try and work on that. If it's casual, 500 should be fine. Yeah, I might, again, I'm probably not the best address to look for advice about casual play for this game. I have never really played this game casually. I just started with the Photo Fiesta. That's kind of been it. Exactly, Moonman. That is very true. If I play through this game like straightforward, I would probably be a bit better handling that nowadays, but like a few years ago I would have had tremendous amounts of trouble just picking and choosing whatever I would want to go as. What should Berserker be able to do? Honestly, I liked the suggestion by Xcodes earlier. Give it like a targeted attack that also berserks the Berserker itself at the same time, and then it starts berserking, but before that you kind of can start doing things. You could actually put it even a step further and give the Berserker an ability that makes the Berserker, well, do berserky things, just continuously attack until that specific target is dead. And then it's no, the Berserker would be no longer berserking. I think that could be interesting. Basically, the Berserk ability is you target an enemy, and then the Berserker starts attacking it until that target dies or the Berserker dies, and they don't stop until, well, one of these two happens. Which is kind of with the regular Berserk status too. I have no idea how difficult that would be to make, but I think it is an interesting way to think about it. A Dark Knight? I have no idea what the Dark Knight can do. Really? I guess we're gonna visit Gilgamesh on the boat now. Ba-ba-da-bum, ba-ba-da-bum. Ah, there it is. This is what it is. This is what I was thinking of. This Gilgamesh here is susceptible to instant death. That's why I remembered it. Now it makes a lot more sense all of a sudden. I was thinking, it wasn't the Gilgamesh Gallo fight that I was thinking of. I was pretty sure it was a regular fight. But I also knew that Gilgamesh in Exdev's castle He's effectively immune against everything. So it wasn't that one, so for some reason it didn't occur to me that it's this one. Alrighty, welcome to some more good music. Welcome to Gilgamesh on the Boat. So, Gilgamesh on the Boat has a grand total of 8,888 HP, which means it is still gonna be a one-shot if we were to use the finisher move. However, we have a number of more interesting status effects to, well, throw at him. Among other things, we can ult Gilgamesh here as well as blinding him. So Gilgamesh, as I said, starts with 8,888 HP. Once you bring him below 6,000 HP remaining, he is going to call in his buddy Enkidu. His buddy Enkidu has largely the same weaknesses and has exactly 4,000 HP. Enkidu will also cast White Wind as soon as he enters, so usually for most classes just bringing the character back to maximum HP. Also, I think, yeah, there it is. I knew I forgot to equip you with a mithril knife. Alrighty, and these goblins here are relatively easy to defeat. So I might just go around and defeat all of them to get a bit more experience. Well, if we hit them, I suppose. Best equipped skill in the game, equip access. Stop missing, dude. Kinda funny how much resistance or how much physical defense I have, though. These things don't even deal damage. They do have Mustard Bomb as an attack that would deal about 300 damage and inflict HP leak status, so they're not without danger. I almost felt Equip Bow is kind of one of the best equipments. Honestly, Equip Bow, Equip Axe, and Equip Whip. All of these are really neat to have. Equip Swords would be too, except that it's super expensive to even get it, so to speak. Completely random question. Could I just go back down and say, you know what, I'm gonna go back to sleep? I've never tried that before. Okay, just go back to bed. Yeah, whatever. You guys deal with it. you guys are still here tomorrow. Yeah, Equip Harp is nice because I think it gives you agility and magic power, so it's pretty good for a lot of cases. Like Equip Harp on a Red Mage is really nice, for example. Oh. Oh, of course you guys are now awake. I shouldn't have done that. I just thought it was funny. Alright, I guess I'm gonna miss out on my first turn here. And he even attacked me, so that's good. That way we didn't lose any authenticity for the solo challenge. Alrighty, welcome to Gilgamesh on the Boat. He has 45 speed, so he's actually slightly faster than our Gladiator. This now has 75% of my current health in damage, so well, that would be a lot of damage. And I still have the Bone Mail equipped, so that would be bad to get hit by, honestly. I'd rather not have that happen. I can once again try to hold him, which would make him significantly slower and also hit for less. Even less than he already does. His physical attack power isn't that good, but Deathclaw is kind of the biggest difficulty about him in the first place. Deathclaw both paralyzes me and puts me into critical HP. So that would be a huge danger to get hit by. As well as he has, I think, Discord, which kind of reduces my level by half. Alright, he's going to start losing his speed at this point, so that's great. And I'm gonna go back to try and just insta-kill him. Actually, I can also use the Dark Bow on him. Hang on, let's use that instead. Means I actually have to unequip the shield briefly. Otherwise I can't equip the bow. So here, I can try to blind him. Basically 66% of the time I hit him with the Dark Bow, he's gonna get blinded. Then again, that's largely irrelevant since he does 0 physical damage now anyways. So yeah, actually, I don't need to use the Dark Bow, I can just use the Killer Bow instead. Trying to instantly kill him. He's not immune to instant death. But well, if I deal enough damage, he's going to call in Enkidu. Who's gonna heal him for 4,000. I never got in an attack before. There. That was interesting. Alrighty, Enkidu. As I said, same weaknesses really as Gilgamesh. He does hit decently hard, so what I want to try and do is I really want to try and defeat him as quick as I can. He has only 4,000 HP total, but I would like to just straight up kill him if I could. There's missiles, 75% of my current health is gone. He does have Vampire as well, which heals him for however much damage he has lost so far. But Vampire actually will get reversed because I have the Bone Mail equipped. And any rain effect on an undead target is effectively just inverted. I'm dead. No, what a meanie. Alright. Yeah, I couldn't heal myself because I still had the Bone Mail equipped. That was maybe not the best choice. But it just kind of neutralizes Gilgamesh entirely. Hello, welcome to Janusharton. Alright, cutscenes. Actually need to catch up on death counts here. We did have one death on Gilgamesh Galloth, didn't we? And on the bridge was until 17. That's 5. And no one on Gilgamesh on the boat. Alright, hold up on the statistics. I'm actually curious whether the Killer Bow has... Oh, wow, alright. I didn't realize that, but the Killer Bow only has an 8% chance of insta-killing the target. That's way worse in our case here than the Doom Scythe. I didn't realize it was such a low probability. Oh, there. Hello, and welcome. It handles spell a bit differently though, probably. I would guess, if it's anything like the Dark Bow, it just doesn't care about spell evasion. In my mind, it was like the similar proc rate, like I expected it to be like a 25% proc rate for the Killer Bow, but the chance of it actually killing was based on the enemy's magic evasion, which clearly is not the case. If it's just a straight up 8% chance, that actually would kind of explain it. Alright, I need to give Lena the thing again. You're still not using the random attack as a crutch. I actually don't really know what that means when you say not using it as a crutch. Like, I think that's just my lack of English right there. What does that mean? Either way, the reason I'm not using the finisher is just because if there's more interesting ways of defeating the enemies and bosses, I'd like to try and explore those rather than, well, doing it differently. Here's the thing, I never understood how handicap is used either in video games. I kind of sort of have an idea, but not really, I guess. Either way, I'm just gonna go straight up for the death cycle this time around. A crutch is a last resort. Ah, okay. I think I get it now. Yeah, basically, I think that's a good way to put it then. I'm not above using the finisher move, but if there's more interesting ways of dealing with enemies and bosses, I'd like to explore these first. Like in this case, being able to ult an enemy is kind of a big deal, I dare to say. Yeah, I think just calling it, I'm gonna use it as a last resort is probably decently accurate. There we go, alrighty, we proc the ult. Now he's gonna be slower and will basically deal no more physical damage. Now I'm gonna try and kill you. Oof. What I also could do, by the way, I could try and use the Death Sickle on myself, which would allow me to have a 1 in 3 chance to heal myself, because Doom would fully heal me with having a bone melee equipped. There we go. Good morning, Krasar. I hope you have a good time so far. Had some death evade. Honestly, it's exactly Smash Bros. That taught me that handicap may not mean what I think it means. I always thought that handicap meant that you kind of make yourself weaker in some capacity in order to, I don't know, give others an advantage or something like that. That's what I always thought it was, but Smash Bros. Kind of inversed that idea. A handicap: play basketball with only one hand, or start up your game, your score starts worse than the opponent. I see, so it does kind of mean what I think it means. Strange. It's just in like some fighting game, I remember the higher handicap you had, the like less damage you took somehow. It was kind of reversed compared to what I usually would expect it to be. Either way, welcome to the Barrier Tower. In here we want to farm a wall ring. A wall ring is a 1 in 16 drop rate from one of those wall knights, and well, we just have to defeat a bunch of them. That's kind of the short version. In golf, a high handicap means you're not such a great player. Right, that's kind of where it gets really confusing to me, because what do you mean with that? Alright, I think I'm gonna stick with the bone mail and see how much 47 defense helps me here against the enemies coming up. Oh, actually! Oh hey, there's an enemy. So these guys, the Reflect Knives, have pretty high physical defense. So using an attack or a weapon that pierces defense, like the Death Sickle here, is kind of neat. However, they have permanent wall status, Which means if I cast any spells on them through, like, well, the Death Sickle proc, it's gonna bounce back. Which in this case is a good thing, because with the Bone Mail I get healed to full. But yeah, 1 in 16. Didn't get it. I could get a Drain Sword later too. Did we figure out whether the critical hit was chance to hit or not? Or was it always hitting? Either way, here I'm actually not going to equip the Bone Mail. That would be very, very unhealthy. Also an elemental for evasion. Gold Shield is fine. Don't use the Death Sickle here though. Actually curious, Red Dragon. On this box here is a Red Dragon guarding a Drain Blade. This is the first Knight Honor Sword that we actually encounter. And it's a very obscure and strange weapon that has barely any use. But maybe it will have some use here. So let's see. A Red Dragon is immune to Stone, Toad, Mini Sleep, Paralyze and Charm. So we can not put it to sleep. We can, however, instantly kill it with the Killer Bow, and we can blind it too. Technically. I think I'm just gonna go for the straight up damage approach. This might not work out in my favor, because this thing is kind of dangerous. Actually, let's just use Finisher here. Whoop. He would be weak to... He's by the way undead for some reason. So the Doom proc would actually heal him. But, well, the elemental attack just kills him. He has 7,500 HP. And we have the Blood Sword. Blood Sword is a really, really weird weapon. It has really high attack and gives him 5 more magic power. But its scaling is based on magic power. And we have only 17 of that. Plus, we have like a 75% chance to miss. Then again, if you ever get to hit somebody with it, it would actually drain their HP and give it to us. I'm just curious whether the critical hit would actually hit, or whether it's gonna miss anyways. I don't want the elemental attack, I want the critical hit too. We're also already level 32. Nice. Alright, critical hits can miss. So unfortunately the Drain Blade has very little use right now. It might have actually some rather obscure use later, where it might technically be useful in a very minor capacity. But for now, the Blood Sword, or the Drain Sword, depending on translation I guess, not that great. Alrighty, and let's just go. Yeah. Also, I think I'm just gonna use finishers against the Reflect Knights, because, well, it's faster to try and defeat them that way, rather than just keep using the regular attacks, I guess. So these magnetite enemies only ever attack if there's no other enemy present aside from magnetites themselves. Other than that, they will always use magnet, pulling a random character in your party from the back row into the front row. Other than that, it just doesn't do anything. Fairly consistent elemental attacks now. Oh, it's still subject to probability, but it seems like more likely than before, most certainly, I agree. This name just brings a very old song up to your mind. I have no idea what that would be, honestly. Haven't seen a failed attempt in a while. Oh, never mind. Yep. But they still use magnet. I guess they only ever attack if they are the last enemy remaining. Interesting. I could just sit in this combat here for as long as I want to. Time to cast Region and wait. Maybe. But I have the Bone Man equipped. I'm immune to Region. Like, literally, that's the thing. I'm immune to Regeneration because I have a Bone now. Alright. No more regular potions. Actually, I probably should have kept one or two of them. But we're gonna be in this room here for a while now. Because this is the room where we have the best chance of encountering a single individual Reflect Knight. That's the entire plan here. Just wanna get these. Maybe if I get an elemental attack immediately on the Traveler, I can just stick it out, because we will also need some more levels, probably. I need at least 1800 maximum HP in the end. But I think I will be able to do, or complete the rest of the game with just that amount. If you try to throw Death on yourself, does the weapon damage you? Death? The weapon? No, Doom will fully heal me. Hey, there's a Dream Harp! Dream Harp can actually put enemies to sleep. But as a major problem, you can only attack enemies that are not heavy with harps, so it basically doesn't do anything for you. Free money. Yep, also it's a 1 in 16 drop rate from the Traveler. I'm not looking for their items, I suppose. Wow. Good day, and Beyond Chaos, and welcome. I hope you're doing well. Nope. Wait, time slip hits me? Oh, I have the power sash equipped, that explains that. Time slip should not be able to hit me when I'm immune to the aging status. Time slip applies both aging status and it applies both aging status as well as sleep at the same time. But if you're immune to either sleep or aging status, it's never going to actually hit you. Some status effects are that way, other status effects are just applying whatever they can. They have multiples. time to see how many dream hearts we can get before the ring. It's probably not gonna be that many, because I'm in this room just for this one encounter here, where we have just a single reflect knife, which is basically as fast as it gets, really. Oops. Oh well. Might as well stick around here, I guess. Hey, there's a reflect ring. And we got a level 33. Nice. Alrighty, moving on. So the reason why I want the reflect ring is, well, it gives you reflect or wall permanently in combat. It's an accessory, and that means I will not be able to use the elf cape or like the Angel ring or anything like that. But effectively, it will reflect all the spells that can be reflected permanently on your character, which is kind of a big deal in a number of encounters, specifically at the end of World 2. This is World 2 we are in here right now. There's gonna be X-Death, and we really want to reflect what he can throw at us. That's kind of the short version right there. Also, here we go. I'm gonna actually put Ferris into the back row. I will explain in just a moment why. Sleep Blade and Reflect Ring, just in case. Power Sash for damage in case we deal some damage. Alrighty. Welcome to one, if not the most unfriendly boss in the entire game for a solo character challenge. Even more unfriendly in a lot of cases than Carl Boss. Because at Carl Boss you just don't have the tools of your classes usually to deal with him. In this case, a lot of classes just don't have tools to deal with him. Welcome to Atmos. Atmos has almost 20,000 HP, like 3 less than 20,000, and his AI script is kind of simple. If none of your characters are dead in the party, he is going to bombard you with comment. A lot of comments. He has permanent haste and is really fast and is going to cast a lot of comments on you. And it's basically impossible to survive unless you overlevel to a tremendous amount. Or you have some way of putting him to sleep. Like with the Sleep Blade, for example, that I'm trying to use here. And then, when there is a character dead in your party, he's doing this. He just drags them closer and closer and closer to the opening of the mouth. And once they're close enough, he's just gonna make them disappear like a magic trick. Or he would, if I didn't put him to sleep right there. Now, the thing is, in Final Fantasy V, sleep lasts forever, or until you either dispel it or attack that enemy with a physical attack. Well, specifically with an attack. So if I were to hit him again, even if the Sleep Blade procs again and tries to put him to sleep and would work, he's actually still going to wake up. So I cannot actually just attack again with the Sleep Blade. That doesn't really work. Not efficiently anyways. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually intentionally going to equip the Blood Sword, so my physical attack has a very high chance to miss. Because I'm gonna use Finisher. I actually have no idea whether the Finisher critical or the Finisher elemental attack will wake up Atmos. No clue. But let's see. Elemental attack, let's see. Maybe he wakes up, maybe he doesn't. Nope, he didn't wake up. Alright, that's very interesting. So basically, it doesn't count as a regular attack, it's just gonna stay asleep. So, a lot of solo characters have ridiculous amount of trouble defeating Atmos. Gladiator, with his finisher move, not so much. Unless you can put him to sleep, or you have some other obscure means of neutralizing his comet spam, then you have a really hard time dealing with Atmos. In the case of the Mystic Knight, I'm actually not entirely sure what I did. What I would try to do was try to get into lower HP and get shell status, while also simultaneously putting Atmos to sleep. That would be the idea. I don't actually know whether shell even procs on a Mystic Knight, unless you directly get hit. I think there was a problem with the Mystic Knight shell proccing the way I wanted it to. Either way, yeah. Atmos is pretty free as a gladiator, thanks to the finisher. And this is one of those bosses where I have absolutely no qualms about using the finisher move the way it is intended, as well the finisher. Because this boss is not friendly for so many solo characters, and it's quite nice to actually have a good method of dealing with him for once. You remember the auto shell be glitchy? Yeah, I don't exactly remember what the problem was, but there was a problem with trying to get shell procced on a Mystic Knight in the Atmos battle. So a lot of solo characters end up just having the other 3 characters alive and only killing them off one by one, so they just have enough time to finish off Atmos before anything else happens. Aside from the characters just briefly staying alive longer in order to, well, just delay Atmos combat spam, they don't do anything. They're just literally just standing there. But also, that has some weird properties of just weirdly delaying the inhaling of the dead characters as well, if they do get turns as well. It's really strange. But didn't have to do anything like that with a Gladiator, because we are strong enough. It's nice to have an easy Atmos after difficult Soul Cannon. Yeah. Yeah. Still funny to me that the level 3 fairies defeated the Soul Cannon no problem at all, and Butts used like 4 or 5 elixirs and the high potion. It's great. But still has the easiest Atmos. Yeah. That sounds about right. Takes a long time, but it's easy. Alrighty. We have a submarine now. And I think there's not really much of a reason to delay going into Guido's cave, because there's not really any reason for me to fight the Metamorphos in there, so I'm just gonna run through there. Also not really any danger. The Guido's cave is one of those weird places that is just completely empty of any treasure whatsoever. The only kind of good things you can get out of Guido's cave are blue mage abilities from various Metamorpha function or abilities things, which they're pretty good with the wind level 3 ability, Eroga or whatever it's called in this version. And you can also farm light staves, as in light element staves, from the Metamorpha enemies directly too. If you can equip staves and break them, you cast Holy, which is really crazy good at this point in the game, especially against the final boss here. I have used that technique on a number of solo characters that could equip staves already. And I will probably also be using this on the solo freelancer, just because, well, being able to equip everything is basically a freelancer's ability. Is Gladiator a staff breaker? No, Gladiator is a game breaker with its finisher ability. We can't equip staves, but we can equip swords, knight swords, spears, which is strange, axes, which is also strange, daggers, and bows, which is fascinating. I really like the equipment arsenal of a Gladiator, it's pretty neat. Yeah, Gladiator is OP because, well, it's supposed to be a class that you unlock at the end of World 3. Not this early on, so yes. Definitely true. By the way, these Metamorpha enemies don't do anything in their first turn. The second turn they transform. The third turn they attack with the transformation. The fourth turn they transform back. Actually, they transform back after the attack. Fourth turn they just don't do anything. Basically, it just repeats. Has anyone played the bonus dungeon? You have only heard that it's bad. It didn't feel particularly bad to me. It's just, well, a bonus dungeon. I imagine if you kind of like have to complete it, it feels more tedious, especially if you're not allowed to run away, like that was my experience with it. But beyond that, I didn't feel like it was particularly bad. But I don't actually know whether there's encounters that you can't run away from in there, because I never tried to run away from any. It's the sliver part. The sliver? I don't know what that means. This is Guido's cave, where we're about to go into the Forest of Moor. Oh, Splinter. Yes, we just received... Well, we had received a stick which tells the trees that we are friends of the trees. So they let us into the forest. The Splinter is actually gonna be later. No. We don't have Kara yet. Yeah, that's in World 3. Am I really friends with the trees? Me? Yes. I'm not gonna light the forest on fire. At least not intentionally. So you need to be like the monks and wear a tree suit. Well, if they provide me with a tree suit, I will gladly put it on. No, frogs are friends. Tree frogs are even poisonous. I don't recommend eating them. I would actually be able to do something rather interesting with the enemies in the crystals, anyways. I don't even need the flame shield, curiously enough, but it's still going to be my item of choice. Alrighty, let's go in here and grab some more equipment. I can get a diamond helmet, which is actually going to reduce all the lightning damage I receive by half. And shield also is resistant to lightning, but I'm getting a better shield very soon. I'm not gonna use the diamond armor probably, but I might as well buy one just in case I do. Diamond shield I'm not going to use either. Alright, my equipment here. But you're getting a new dagger. Also, isn't there a bow for sale here? Ah, there is. So basically, this elven bow has pretty decent attack power, and it has a slight chance to critically hit. It is, unfortunately, completely uninteresting beyond that. Unlike the Killer or Darkness Bow, it just doesn't do anything beyond just, well, a slight critical hit chance. And it's not really useful for us in that case. I'm just gonna ignore that. Welcome to the Forest of Moor. There's a number of odd enemies in here. I believe the Gala Jellies actually absorb wind element as healing, so I couldn't even use the finisher on them. And I do actually want to remove the Reflect Ring in favor of other things. I'm gonna equip the Magos for more physical block chance, equip the Diamond Helm that I just acquired, and let's go. So I actually want to get into an encounter with the mini-mages, because I would like to, well, get minute. Which might seem a strange thing to want, but mini is a really interesting status effect that isn't entirely negative. In fact, I'm probably going to be minute for the final boss fight in this scenario here. So what I'd like to have is these mini-magicians to cast mini on me and actually hit, which might be a bit of a challenge for them. I'm not sure about that. Okay, got it. Nice, I'm minute. That's exactly what I want. So, alrighty, let me explain what the mini status does real quick. When I'm minute, I have 0 physical defense, so it does not matter how much, well, physical defense I have. I just take full damage from enemy attacks. However, I still get all the other stats from the other equipment pieces, etc. So that definitely is helpful. I will probably use the Reflect Ring thinking about it. Sure, Reflect Ring sounds useful. My attack power is set to 3, so you can see the Magos has an attack of 36. But if you're minute, you always have an attack of 3. Which, effectively at this point in the game, means that I'm gonna deal 0 damage to enemies, because their physical defense is usually more than 0. Not all of them, but mostly. Either way, the reason why I do want to be minute anyways, despite these downsides, is because this gives me twice the amount of evasion from the shield. So, with the gold shield right now, I have baseline 30% chance to block physical attacks. However, with being minute, it is 60% chance to block physical attacks with the gold shield. And very soon I actually get a new shield, the flame shield, which has baseline 40% chance to block physical attacks. And being minute, it's gonna be 80%, so it's gonna be way better on that end. Actually, I'm still going to get the flame shield. Being minute is useful. Okay, that's the entire reasoning as to why I want to be minute. I also like to not be confused. And it just cost... Alright, never mind, these things do not absorb wind element apparently, because this guy just killed himself with a wind attack. Fascinating. Hey worm, bye worm. I probably should have just used the finisher on it. Because that would have been a relatively easy experience. Assuming finisher does work when I'm in it. It does. Nice. I actually didn't know that until now. Alrighty, we can in fact use finisher on enemies while being minute. That's great. Because it doesn't matter whether I'm minute or not. The only thing I'm losing is physical defense. And I can just attack enemies for 9,999 damage anyways. 80% block chance as well as dagger and accessory. Yes, you could add those multiplicatively as well. So let's see. 20%, but 1 in 3 of these 20% hits that hit you are blocked by the Elf Cape, and then, well, it's basically a 90% chance to dodge with Magos and the Elf Cape. So up here there's a chest. If I were to open this right now, it contains a Aegis Shield. Aegis Shield is a really good all-around shield that gives you immunity to being petrified, which is kind of a big deal, but also it blocks 1 in 3 magic attacks on you. Also, hey, look! Ah, fire, fire, fire! By the way, the Aegis Shield blocks 1 in 3 magic attacks as well as 1 in 3 physical attacks. So 33% chance to block basically almost everything. Not everything, but most things. That's really good. However, I do want to have the higher physical evasion with the Flame Shield. Plus, the Flame Shield does absorb fire damage as healing instead. That's kind of what I'm looking for here. I just want that 80% evasion, effectively. And I might actually just carry that all the way to the final boss of this area here, but I'm not entirely sure because it could be rather dangerous. Alright, here we just wait. We could get healed on the fountain there, but one, I would have to knock out my allies again so they go back to sleep, since they are not allowed to be awake in a solo character challenge run. And two, it would actually remove the mini status, since, well, it's kind of like resting. Resting removes all buffs and debuffs that you have on your characters. So yeah, the Aegis Shield, if you pick it up before the first burst down, is, well, an Aegis Shield. But afterwards it's a Flame Shield, which is what I'm looking for. Nice. Alrighty, welcome to the burned down forest of Moor. And in here we have some ash, which is useless unless you are a cannoneer. And a flame tongue. So this is the first really useful sword that is knight exclusive. Well, or gladiator, because you can use knight swords as well. It is a really high attack power sword with 63, and it is baseline fire damage, which actually means if I hit myself with the flame tongue while having a flame shield equipped, I will actually heal myself. It's great. But this is not why we're gonna be here. For now I want to have more physical evasion. So we move on with this. Because upcoming we are running into one of the trickier battles of this game here. And the tricky battle is going to be the crystals. The crystals have a very peculiar way of trying to fight you, let's put it that way. And also I need to briefly make sure Galuf has... Oh, do I have a... Oh, I don't have a Phoenix Down left. Hang on, I need to go back and buy a Phoenix Down real quick. Or a few. Because I need to actually give Galuf the bone mail or a reflect ring in order to speed up the process later. Technically I could use that process to take a break, but I'd like to try and go fast today. Déchiré. At least that word appears to be French to me. Feel free to correct me if it is not. Turtles. Alright, here, let's buy some Phoenix Stones. I don't want to sleep. I could have just used a tent or a cottage, but then I would have to get minied again. Okay, here we go. Phoenix Stone on Galuf. I'm gonna give Galuf the bone mail here. That way he can actually use a Phoenix Stone on himself in order to knock himself out. And the reason why that's important is because there's gonna be a cutscene coming up where you cannot actually kill Galuf through damage. You have to use some obscure means like explosion or something like that in order for that to work. Thank you. So yeah, good night Galuf, thank you for sticking around and using that bone mail. Okay. So the other reason as to why I want to actually be Minit is a bit more obscure, but the short version is I actually don't want to deal damage to the crystals here, because I have a different way of taking care of them. I have done this in the past with the Berserker as well, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I have? I'm not sure. I have done it in Forge of Fiestas before. Either way, the short version is... Welcome to the Seal Guardians. Each one of these crystals has 7,777 HP, and they are attributed to different elements. The top one is fire, the one on the left is wind, the one at the bottom is earth, and the one on the right is supposed to be water, but aqua rating is actually a neutral element, so it's aqua ring, I guess. Either way, all these things do is do physical attack, and that's quite literally it. They don't do anything aside from physically attacking. So, the crystal at the top absorbs fire-based damage, the crystal on the left absorbs wind, bottom is earth, on the right I have no idea. Either way, I think wind actually doesn't work against them. Oh no, wait, it does. Okay, we can one-shot them with the elemental attack. That's fine. This is not what I was actually going to do here. What I was going to do is instead, I wanted to blind them, because even though these things literally don't look like they have eyes, you can blind the crystals. And this will make their physical attacks miss 75% of the time, on top of all my physical evasion. Oops. So that's kind of what I'm gonna do here. Unfortunately, I can't equip a shield while I'm trying to blind them, so this is gonna be a bit more dangerous than usual. And I'm gonna start on the left guy. Nice, alright, he's blinded. So in the Super Nintendo version, there's no indication for whether the enemy gets blinded or not. However, in this version, you can see a flash of light. It's not that pleasant on the eye, but you would usually play this on a tiny screen, so it's not as bad, I guess. But yeah. Alright. More? Nice. 66% of the time we just straight up blind them. Alrighty, and now I'm gonna go ahead and equip my Flame Shield again, and I'm gonna go ahead and equip the Death Sickle. These things are not immune to instant death. Now that they have almost no chance of hitting me ever anymore, I'm going to try and start working on them with the Death Sickle. So, the standard way a lot of solo characters actually try to defeat these crystals is by knocking the top crystal into, well, below 3000 health remaining. When a crystal is below 3000 health, it will cast a spell attributed to its element over and over and over again, that just kind of nuke your entire party. The top crystal would cast Fire 3 and deal about 1100 fire damage to you. If you have a Flame Shield or a Flame Ring, I would absorb that fire damage and get healed. So basically, you put that guy into critical HP and you get healed forever in the fight. It's kind of neat. The main problem about this strategy is actually that I would be... well, the top fire crystal is the slowest one of all the crystals, and with my current maximum HP, I would actually get killed by the wind crystal if it gets to move twice in a row before the fire crystal heals me in between. So that would be decently dangerous if I were to go on that road. So yeah. By the way, I could just use the finisher move instead of the Death Sickle. This is just me trying to demonstrate, hey, there's other methods of defeating these things. There we go, instant death. And I can now do this with the other crystals too. It's kind of neat. The rabbit finds some cheddar in the food box and doesn't want to share, so he corners the food box away from everyone else and keeps nibbling until it's completely full. Yay, cheese threats. That's great. But yeah, there is like 3 different ways of how I could approach this fight here. With a flame shield, I could, as I said, just knock out the fire crystal. I would want to have a bit more maximum HP though, or I would try to just insta-kill the wind crystal directly. Fun. Oh, by the way, this boss is also the reason as to why Ferris, once again, would be better as the solo Gladiator, because she could just finish all but the fire crystal with her elemental attack, but can finish all but the wind crystal with his elemental attack. The wind crystal is gonna get healed by, but because it absorbs wind element. And Galuf, by the way, they are immune to Earth, if I'm not mistaken. At least I think they are, I'm not entirely sure. By the way, they are immune to lightning, to ice, to poison, and to holy element. Yes, finisher does 9,999 damage even while minute. It doesn't care whether you're minute or not, it's not based on your attack power. Either way, I'm going to take this opportunity to take a break and go to the bathroom. So I'm gonna try and put a weight onto the button, and you enjoy the fight. Oh. Until I'm done? Rip. Should have made Galuf a solo character. You wouldn't see much of him. Like literally, he doesn't have a gladiator sprite. Either way, if you do this strategy on the Super Nintendo version, the Super Nintendo version has a weird bug where the chance to proc attacks on a mini cactus are significantly reduced. I don't know why or how. That's just a thing that I have empirically realized over the years. It's not documented in the algorithms guide in any capacity, but for some reason, if you try to proc like Earthquake with the Gaia Hammer or something like that, you just have a significantly lower chance with a minute character. And I think the Game Boy Advance version might have fixed that with a minute character for like Doom, I guess. Probably on this shut up. The tiny butts now. So this entire thing here is the reason why I put Bone Meal Galuf, because you could cut this cutscene battle short by just giving Galuf a Phoenix down. There is like 3 different methods I know how to cut this cutscene battle short. And all of them involve removing Galuf from combat one way or another. One is just giving him a Phoenix down while having the Bone Meal equipped. That's what I have right now set up. Another one is using Blue Magic where he explodes. Or another one is using Blue Magic where he uses the... whatever the sacrifice ability is called. He missed. I could have tried to get him a finisher too. Yeah, I suppose that's true. That is true. Either way, I'm going to be taking a short break after the next cutscene anyways. Gonna be like 5-6 minutes, I guess. And then we storm Extev's castle. Unless I forgot something. Did I forget something? I might need more maximum HP, by the way, on our Gladiator here. It might not be sufficient with just over 1,000. I need to actually go ahead and see how much physical damage we take from a vacuum wave in the back row. Then again, it might not even matter. That's the funny part about it. I should stop mashing the A button. Samurai is currently winning the straw poll. Oh, that's a very old... Bro, I didn't update the straw poll yet, I'm sorry. Don't vote on the straw poll, I didn't update it yet, because there's still a Gladiator in there. Yeah, I should probably just make a new one, huh? Let me do this real quick before I forget about it. I'm actually considering just removing the straw poll and just say I would like the freelancer to be the last one. Because I don't know, it just kind of feels mildly appropriate. Maybe. Nah, I'm just gonna make a straw poll. Alrighty, where's the SSCC? There it is. Alright. I updated the straw poll, so if you'd like to vote on whether we play Freelancer or Samurai next, the straw poll is in chat right now. Good morning to you, Vintage Look. Hope you're doing well. So yeah, if you think Freelancer finish is a good fit, then vote for Samurai, I suppose. I'm still not sure whether I'm gonna follow the straw poll either way. Either way, everybody, I'm going to take a short break because today's gonna be a bit of a longer stream, so I'm gonna get up, stretch, and move around for a while. In, well, certain intervals that I have not determined. Just gonna be once in a while. Be right back and thank you for watching.